departments. We have to put them in and organize them by department and say, we don't want everybody to see everybody's access, just this manager and your people, here's who you need to review. That manager would then mark it up and get it back to us, in a list like this, and then it would drive us insane. We have to go back to the system and usually manually go through and review and change the access. I see Roxandra smiling because at the Virginia Department of Agriculture, this was known as this was like the Olympics for us. I remember that they were telling us, like, we're getting ready for the annual review of access. And it was just this moment. It's like, okay, we're printing everything out. We're going to send it out. We don't know when it's going to get back. It would take 6 months to get this data back sometimes from the managers. And we had to find where do the binders go? Do they pass it all around? And that type of thing. Then when we get it all back, we're like, what do we do with it? So, very interesting. So we were looking at how can we automate this just to make our lives easier, right? So one of the things we were looking at, we just need to buy something. And I see a lot of vendors outside. I've actually talked to 3 of them that said they could do this, and maybe I'll explore that later. But we decided to make something. And the reason is, part of it because we are a spoke, right? So we have looked at systems like SailPoint and and Fisher, and even Improbata OneSign, which is big in hospital environments. And those systems will do something very similar. Where we're at is that if they're being used by central IT, then central IT is usually interested in broader things than we are. So let's say that I really want to track a niche system and the level of access there. It's very hard or very difficult for me to lobby to get that data put into a bigger identity management system that's guarded by the university. The same with when we were at the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth was using SailPoint, and we could see stuff that applied to the system at large, right? We could see the security groups and the distribution lists, but we couldn't see the agriculture systems in SailPoint. And we were trying to figure out how could we do that. So we decided to demonstrate rather just to find a way, can we make something? Can we make a tool to do this? At the same time, there is some South Pole thinking, and it's kind of what we've been hearing all day, is that administrators, a lot of this stuff is invisible, right? If we go through and like, hey, I just reviewed a ton of access, and we cleaned a lot of stuff up. It doesn't really move the needle in terms of making money or helping improve, some new technology or things like that. It's not flashy. It's not showy. In fact, the usual response we get is, well, why are there so many accounts that needed to be updated? So that's also something that battles with us as we're trying to make her buy something, even spending time on making something. So what we wanted to do at Dentistry was to build a system that could, first of all, just report on employee access over multiple systems. So we didn't have to take each one and get a list of users, put it all together, send it out, that type of thing. And then second, we wanted a mechanism to give it out to managers and allow them to review and respond right away, electronically. And then from those responses in the system, we would take action on them as soon as we can, electronically. We would be able to easily see, okay, remove this account, change this person, that type of thing. So how do we approach this when we went ahead and make it? So first of all, I contacted our university's database administrator, and I said, look, we've got all of these systems with disparate databases and data sets all over. Is there any way to get all this together and dump it into one thing without having to do something manually? And he said, yes, I can set up some linked servers for you. Now, I was talking to a friend, he's an Azure guy, and he said, that's funny, I didn't know they did linked servers anymore. So I don't know if that's a dig, like this is an old-fashioned technology, but I love it. So I heard it at a conference, somebody said, hey, you could use a linked server. So what that means is, basically the DBA is looking at all of our systems that are hosted at the university on database servers, and he created these database links so that they all pour in through an overnight SQL job or a stored procedure into one database for us, like a reporting database. He was even able to, very curiously enough, to get Active Directory to link this way. So I thought that was fascinating. So I can query Active Directory as if it were a database. So I'm a SQL person, I like to write SQL scripts. I didn't like running, I couldn't figure out, do I have to export a tool in Active Directory? Do I have to use some kind of LDAP browser or something like that? Well, no, I can just do select users, groups, and OUs and get a data set out fairly easily. And then I can automate that through an overnight job or something like that. So second of all, I wanted to say we needed to get a feed because we don't consume we're not, we have the university's central HR system. how do we get a feed of the HR data just so the school dentistry can use it and starts comparing access? Because until then, we were having to ask HR, hey, can